This is Invasion of Body Snatchers. I'm your host, Vincent Green,
I'm your host, Noel John Tui.
and welcome back to another episode. So Noel, now that we got that intro out of the way, what have you been up to, motherfucker?
Oh, I've been doing a little bit of music, as you know, and I
Yeah.
have been watching TV to pass the time until I die.
What have
And
you
I
been
watched a
watching?
little bit of the Cabinet of Curiosities. I know we're planning on doing that in the future, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to get through those. Got a bit bogged down with a couple of films I needed to rewatch, and I have a first time watch of first time watch being Barbarians. And yeah, so I've just been keeping myself busy, but not too busy. What about you?
Yeah, no, I've been watching Cabinet of Curiosities. I'm a huge Guillermo del Toro fan. I think we should probably do
Visual
like yeah,
masterpiece, yeah.
yeah, just like the special effects, his monsters, his love of monsters, and you can tell, he literally made a movie where someone was in love with a monster, in Shape of the
Yeah.
Water, in Shape of Water, or Death Shape of Water. Sorry, is it Death Shape of Water or just Shape of Water?
I'm
Death
not going
Shape.
to look that up. You just take a
Hmm.
stab at it, and then
Shape
it's
of
just in
that
the
that shape of water sounds better. It
yeah.
sounds right, doesn't it? But like, yeah, I'm a huge Guillermo del Toro fan, yeah. So I've been watching Cabinet of Curiosities. We're going to do a rankers episode, and we're going to pick our five favorite from the slate of eight, and then we're going to give her an honorable mention. It's going to be a lot of fun because I loved the diversity and the style of storytelling that he was able to incorporate into eight different episodes, and it really kind of gave me that Tales of the Crypt, creep show kind of vibe. And I hope it's an annual thing now because he's got such pull. There's going to get lots of cool creators to come work on that show. So I
Oh my
want to,
god, yeah.
yeah, I want to see more outright horror from him as well because we get to see a lot of horror themes in his movies, but we don't get to see a lot of outright horror since a lot of his earlier stuff, and it's kind of
Pan's
cool.
Labyrinth was
Mm,
just such a beautiful
sumptuous
film.
movie. Oh,
Oh
it's
my
so good,
god.
so good. It's so good. Like the visuals, like Pan himself, the goat man, like everything is so well shot. The guy that has his eyes,
And his hands, yeah.
yeah, and oh man, and he just does this, like man, everything about that movie is beautiful. So like, I got really excited about that. So yeah, I've been spending my week watching that. Then on Halloween, we took a bit of a deep dive into like the early 2000s. We watched Shutter with Joshua Jackson, and then we ended up it says on the poster from the producers of The Grudge and The Ring. So it says to watch The Grudge and The Ring straight after that. And it's kind of had these, we ended up watching three Americanized remakes of Asian movies. And I didn't even know Shutter is like an Indonesian movie or a movie from Thailand or something originally. Something I actually didn't know. I thought it was a Japanese movie. But that's what I've been doing this week. But we didn't come here to talk about Shutter. We didn't come here to talk about whatever you were watching. I can't remember. I know.
I don't take
I
interest in
know.
other people.
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
know. Whatever you said, it was like that static moment.
That's that thing you were talking about for you.
Call back. But yeah, so like, yeah, we're not here to talk about the awesomeness of Cabinet of Curiosities, and we're not here to talk about some American remakes, some awesome Asian horrors. We're here to talk about the switch hit of the fucking year, and that is Barbarian. This movie fooled everybody with that trailer. Everybody. I don't care who you are. Nobody saw what this movie was coming.
Everybody.
Yeah, so
No, actually, that much is true. As in, I again, spoiler warning is in effect. I
it's in
made
the
a joke to
description.
you.
It'll
We
be in
were
the description.
in the description, but like I made a joke to you. It was like, oh yeah, no. The second she walked through the door, I was like, subterranean monster woman calling it.
Man, like it was the marketing of this movie is some of the smartest.
It's a little bit hereditary, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because they
it's
got you thought you have Skarsgård there, and
yeah,
having a moment. He's been brilliant, and
from the
he was
producer of
Pennywise
it
the
as
clown.
well.
Yeah, and he was Pennywise the clown, no less.
Mm,
He's got creepy kind of facial expression. He has that like in his register, and
yeah.
it's all set up for a twist and turns, but the double booked. It's not an accident. He's going to be a bad guy,
Mm.
and they market it that way. The trailer kind of leaves it
Yeah,
that way, and you're like, and the hereditary in us, and I was like, I'm down for it.
yeah.
I'm down for it. I
Man.
love being completely caught.
Yeah, I turned around like four times during the movie, and I was like, "This is not what I thought it was going to be."
Oh yeah,
Man, I love that. Like, because it's like I honestly thought it was going to be. I said it to you before we started recording that it was going to be like the M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Visit, where you go there, it's really unsettling. It's the whole case of the person lulls you in, they're not what they seem to be. And once you realize that you're in a situation that's very hard to get out of, and you have that sense of confinement and all these things, and that's what the trailer sold it to me as. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a real creepy, kind of spooky movie that kind of jangles your nerves, that kind of thing. And that's what the
Yeah.
trailer seemed to be. And within 20 minutes, Bill Skarsgård gets his head caved in by this giant subterranean uh woman. Like, it's the only way I
Incest
could.
monster baby,
Yeah, incest monster baby, snoo snoo.
Yeah.
But like, so yeah, like I honestly, first of all, you 100% think Keith is going to be the villain. You think
Oh
Bill
yeah.
Skarsgård's got 100%.
I think
Everybody thought that. Everybody thought that.
or he's going to be innocent and he's going to get killed. Like he's going to go to jail. I don't know. Like
Yeah,
you're kind of like, it's too obvious, but at the same time, maybe it's so obvious that they should make him the bad guy because that,
yeah,
they know I know, they know I know, and that thing you do with yourself,
yeah.
but I know, I know. But yeah, completely innocent. Actually, a
Uh,
pretty decent.
like
Like, can you
really
just
good
tell me
guy,
this?
like just a
Was
good
it just
guy.
a double booking?
Yeah.
Just was just a double booking. Like
It's because
even that was
Justin Long's character AJ that comes into it later on, he's just a fucking mess.
yeah,
He's just a mess, and that's his thing. Like, he probably just one of those dudes that just threw it up on a million sites. Or
yeah.
he's not, well, not him, but he's property manager, whatever. He's probably just like, oh yeah, just book, whatever. Like, it's just one of those things. I think that was just a double booking, and that's what the whole cleverness about it is. You think the bait and switch is going to be it's just a double booking, but clearly Keith is going to be a villain, and he's made this all happen. He's the guy who owns the house or whatever, and that's just how he lures his victims in. And then you're like, okay, this is what the movie is. That's what I thought the movie was, and it was going to be spooky. It was all going to be set in one night, and that's how the movie is going to play out. And to think of the hard left turn that this movie took about 30 minutes in, I never saw that coming. And if anyone said they saw that coming, it's a complete liar.
Oh yeah, of
Because
course,
and
because it's not a hint. It's
mm,
not. There's not a misdirection. There's not. Oh, that explains why there was outside you seen on the window. No, there was nothing.
yeah,
It was like it was just like the titty twister in Dusk Till Dawn.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, okay, I guess it's
Complete
vampires
tonal
now.
shift. Yeah, complete tonal
Complete
shift.
tonal shift. Like, yeah.
Yeah, like nobody,
It's not a
nobody saw that
runaway
coming.
gangster film. No, nobody saw it coming. It was just completely out of nowhere, and it was brilliant. Like,
Yeah,
we were better for it. But yeah, I thought once it switched directions, it was just brilliant.
and,
And
and
I mean, I remember smiling as
mm,
Skarsgård was being killed. I thought, wow, okay, that this is not.
something bit me.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, dude, that's what you get for going down there.
and also it kind of speaks to that kind of like assumptions that we make. Like Skarsgård, like he's such a tall kind of like
A
compared
tall
to
drink of water.
tall drink of
I
water,
could just
but
sip them all
compared
day.
to our female lead, and like he kind of like, what if he attacks her? What is she going to be able to do about it? And then there
Mm.
was like later on you see AJ, and AJ's kind of like more of a
Her
unassuming
name is Tess. Georgina Campbell played her.
Tess. But he's kind of more unassuming, and then there's the sexual assault allegations that kind of are against him that you think probably are true, and he's a complete mess, and his life
Oh,
is
sure, he admits to it.
in the
Like,
yeah. And of course, there is the later in the film where he kind of like literally throws one off a bloody roof just to save himself.
yeah,
So he's like, he's trying to not be a terrible person, but he's very selfish, and he falls
yeah.
into it very easily.
He's clearly a terrible person, and he's
Yeah.
trying to hold up this kind of veneer that
He's
he's a
trying
good
to stop.
person.
He's trying to stop one step short of being a psycho. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah,
like clearly a terrible person,
he's like
but
he
he's trying
knows
to
what
stop
he's
one.
yeah, because he knows what he's doing is wrong, but he
Yeah.
still does it anyway. Whereas a
Yes.
psychopath feels not one way or the other about
Not
anything.
like when even with I know we're jumping to the end, but even when he runs down and the mother broke the mother monster. What are we calling her, by the way?
I think her name is just you keep talking, I'll check.
Yeah,
The mother.
the mother.
Mm.
She breaks her fall, and then your man's coming down. Goes, it's okay. Like like he was genuinely trying to comfort her, saying, "No, it's okay. We'll get you like a hospital." I was like, "Bitch, you threw her off the roof." You weren't an innocent bystander. You know what I mean? Like,
She's not surviving that fall. I don't give a fuck.
yeah,
Man,
and
that
then
fall's too much.
that
Like,
fall is too much.
no one's surviving that. Like,
No,
you are pancaked.
yeah,
Like I don't care. Like, man, I don't care if you got a lot of people breaking your fall. There's just gonna be
It
more
also doesn't,
pancakes.
physics doesn't work if you drop like, if you drop something that weighs a kilo and something that weighs 100 kilos, they'll hit the ground at the same time.
Yeah, but no, she grabs her and turns. No, the
She
old trope.
yeah, but like she jumps after her. She should have just landed after.
Yeah,
That's,
well, she's heavier, so she'd fall faster. No.
I don't think it works that way. No, I think there's like famously one of the ancient Greeks did an experiment on it where there is just a falling, just so as long as you're a lot heavier than the air itself.
Yeah, but what about the rate of velocity or something? I don't know what I'm talking
Maybe,
about.
I don't know. Maybe, but maybe over like a big enough fall. The fall wasn't quite that big. It wasn't
Yeah.
like from there. But again, I don't know. Maybe I'll move aside from the physics.
Yeah. It's just not invasion of the physics
But
snatchers.
the mother again. It was one of those things where it was a monster, but it was also kind of like that thing where you can almost feel sorry for it because it's like
Victim
when
of her
somebody,
circumstance.
yeah, it's like when somebody falls into the tiger pit at the zoo and the tiger kills them, and then they end up like euthanizing the tiger, and like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
There's nothing immoral about what the tiger did whatsoever, like whatsoever. And she couldn't possibly be anything else. Like her whole, she came into being in such an absolutely twisted, fucked up way,
Yeah.
in like the most unimaginable. I mean,
Mm.
the word I think the words I'm going to try to avoid using, but not that we're afraid to curse or anything. But there was a bucket, a tripod, a camera, and a bed.
A rape den, pretty much.
A rape den.
Yeah.
And
It was
it was
messed up.
generational and stuff like that. So it's proper twisted.
What really was like the reaction to the rape then wasn't visceral enough for me. When people saw it, they were like touching the mattress and shit. Like, what? And that mattress literally looks like a tourniquet from the Civil War.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think
And
that's
why
actually a
would you
Bill
touch the
Hicks
mattress?
joke, isn't it?
What?
That's a Bill Hicks joke,
It's
I'm
a
pretty
bit extra.
sure.
What information is deemed by touching the mattress is what I'd like to know. Like information is deemed by looking at one of the tapes. Definitely, I get you. I'm 100% there with you. It's dark, but information is gleaned by gas station red or something was on it, and obviously that was it. Because there were only women. There were nothing to the Frank character. There were nothing at all. There was just the only way to discern them was the color of their hair and where
Frank was the serial killer, is it?
Frank was the serial rapist killer guy.
Yeah. It's like that dude in the wilderness and the daughter wives. What was his name? I can't remember his name. It's been a while since I watched Game of Thrones for good cause.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I know that. I know the one. He gets his throat slit.
Yeah,
Red Wedding.
It's not Crassus or something. No, not Red Wedding. He gets killed by G.R. Mormon at the same time as G.R. Mormon. You keep talking. I'll go.
Mormont. Yeah.
Mormon.
Anyway. Yeah. See now that's annoying me. I hate when people do. We were only talking about this before the last podcast.
Incest, dude.
Incest.
Game of Thrones.
Well, there's a lot of incest dudes in Game of Thrones. Don't forget.
I bet you I get. Oh shit! Fucking Lannisters.
Yeah,
you keep going. I'll find this dude.
Yeah. So the origins of her, it's not that she, there's no question about the nature versus nurture. I mean, everything, the nature and the nurture was completely and totally twisted. She couldn't have been anything. And the only thing she knew how to do was to try and mother. She had like an innate mothering. And to her, that's what she was doing. And even it was kind of like sad.
Dude, the breastfeeding scenes are fucking foul.
No, I didn't watch them.
Oh, they were foul. And that was a guilty wank.
I have this thing in the last year or two. Like, for example, I could watch gore. I've watched the thing multiple times and stuff like that. It's very graphic body horror. But nails getting torn out of his fingers as they get pulled across the floor. It just does something to me.
Oh, his name's Craster. I was close. I said Crassus. That was close.
Okay.
That was close.
But he or something going into the eyeball. Actually,
yeah,
like a close. So I've decided, like, no, I'm watching the horror movie.
Yeah,
and I am. And if I'm uncomfortable, well, it's not the point of horror to be uncomfortable, to be scared, and it's safe. You're in your own home. You're okay. Nothing's actually happening. It's just a good way to kind of mess with your own senses. But then I was like, oh no, oh god, no, I'm not. I was just like, no, don't care. And I was like, I don't care. I'm pussying out on myself. I just don't care. I'm not watching it. Like,
yeah, man. Like, yeah, like those the scenes were like very like. They made you very, very unsettled. Like that's the good one thing about this movie. It keeps you like guessing, and keeps you all kilter. But like every scene is very unsettling. Like the scenes with the mother, and like even the story about how she came to be, like that dude was an absolute dirtbag. Is
Oh yeah.
like you know what I mean? It's like I said, it's like Craster, but
You
the
don't have
daughter
the words
was
for what he is.
yeah, a
You don't
monster.
like
He's just a
dirtbag.
monster.
Like
Like yeah,
I've known dirtbags. I
yeah.
haven't known fucking anything of whatever he is.
And I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby. Listen to
But
Iron
see, the thing
Maiden,
is,
get me.
the only real monsters that were in it were
Ooh.
Frank and
Come
AJ.
after me, Weezer.
Wheatus.
Wheatus. Oh,
Mm,
oh, you come after me,
but you know
Wheatus.
what? It's even more disrespectful that you can't even remember the band's name.
Yeah,
So in a way, it just
yeah.
adds to your burn.
There was just so many of them around that time
There
that come out
was,
with
there
one
was.
song that would become an absolute anthem.
Yeah,
Like they're
Weezer around
literally
that
living off.
stage had Bobby Holly.
Oh, is
Only
it
you, I look just like Bobby.
no Buddy Holly?
Buddy
Mm,
Holly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that was
we're
their
really
big one.
nailing
Yeah,
it with the music tonight, aren't we?
we are.
So wish.
um, but yeah, sorry, back to topic. But like AJ was like a weak, incompetent, shitty man, and Frank
Mm,
was a complete monster. But they were the only two people who you could look at and kind of think, like, what, like that the monster, the mother, she shouldn't have existed. It's
yeah,
not her fault she existed,
yeah.
and she couldn't possibly know what it's like to like even at like I was really sad, despite like the fact that she like killed people and pulling arms off and
So
all
that's
this kind
probably
of
what she
stuff.
saw all her life
Yeah,
is
but she's
people
kind
getting
of wants
killed.
your one to come back in. Do you remember that when she saves her from the fall and she gets up and she kills AJ? And then
Mm,
she kind of like your one's putting the gun, and I don't think she even really knows what a gun is because there wasn't like almost like an animal, like
yeah.
there wasn't like a fearful reaction to it. Um, so she, and then there's just that one shot, and you're kind of like, wow, like that. This the mother had done some mad shit, like including Keith, is Keith or Kevin that was
Keith.
Skarsgård in this Keith,
Mm.
including killing him brutally. But there was sympathy. There was sympathy. The only
She
person I
killed
didn't
that
feel
dude's
sorry.
head
Yeah,
in.
I liked watching AJ die. I didn't like watching the mother die. Not I didn't
Mm,
like I didn't bring me any joy. Certainly,
mm.
AJ dying was satisfying.
Yeah. Uh,
The other guy, Frank. Well, I like the fact that he kind of like was in this, disabled for years and lived a life of misery for a long time.
yeah, under the ground.
Yeah, so like his death was quite quick, but his demise was
Yeah.
absolutely brutal. So that
Oh, and
was
I'm sure like she made life hard for him as well. Like it was
oh
like
god, yeah.
yeah, and I don't know, like
But a woman he couldn't push around. The only woman that he couldn't push around in the end was one
yeah,
he made.
yeah.
And so there's that nice irony there as well.
Yeah,
Like
that dude is just messed up. Like I like a good villain. Like when you watch a horror, sometimes you wanted to bring into the real depths of the human existence, of
yeah,
the human experience, and like there is dudes out there like this. Like there is such predatorial dudes out there that like people that really have these really strange, deluded sense of reality and what they should be allowed to do with other people, and they create like monster through no like literally like as you said the mother is also a victim here at the same time she's the perpetrator but like as you said like when she kills or when she gets killed you don't feel the same sort of sense of like oh you deserve that like you know what I mean because even though what she was doing was monstrous and horrific and she herself had been created as a monster and turned into a monster like it wasn't her fault she was a monster
no, not at
because
all.
you know what I mean. But AJ was a different kind of monster, and it was completely his fault that he was a
Yeah,
monster.
he had every
Yeah,
advantage.
yeah, and like you know what I mean.
Like he
Every
had
entitlement, he was a
every
movie
entitlement.
star. He was or TV star
Good
at the very
looking.
least.
He was a movie star.
Yeah,
At least TV star. Yeah,
yeah,
he
like
had
so.
money. He had fans, and it wasn't enough.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, and pretty much he can't take no for an answer. That's his whole personality. He feels that he should be entitled to do all the things that he wants to do in life,
Hmm.
and no matter the wreckage or whatever he leaves behind him. And I think that's a very different sort of monster. And but both of them were kind of created by the systems that they were
Yeah,
that they kind of inhabited. Like the mother was created by the system of continuous inbreeding and incest and torture and horrificness by Frank, the serial killer, serial rapist dude. And AJ was created because this self-entitlement and this self sort of aggrandizement that you see
hmm.
a lot of celebrities and stuff. So you have two monsters that are created completely by their own kind of like the kind of environments that they find themselves in, and it's cool to see the man how people can manifest completely differently, and how we view the manifestations of those people, and the way we look at the mother as almost a victim, but we look at AJ as wholly a perpetrator, because as you said, he had every choice, he had every chance and every entitlement, and he still chose the wrong decision every single time. And even though the mother is the monster, you still see AJ as almost more monstrous, because she was acting almost out of instinct, where he was acting out his sense of judgment or his sense of self-entitlement. And that's why, as you said, you get more of a gratification when you see AJ's demise
Yeah.
than you do the monster, or the mother, the mother, because she's just, a creature acting on instinct that she was
Yeah.
that was ingrained in her.
In fact,
Whereas,
doing what she thought was right, like protecting what she thought was right. Like, don't forget, she threw
yeah,
herself off the roof
baby,
to protect.
mm,
She threw
baby,
and the way a mother does, the way a mother
mm,
wouldn't be thinking about running into a burning building, even though God knows what you're running into or what you'll have to do, or if it's even possible. But that's not the point. The point is protect
mm,
before anything else. You know, so there was, and then AJ was the opposite. He was selfish,
mm.
and that was the worst trait he had, was that he was selfish,
Yeah,
and selfish in the
he
sense he
didn't
was
care. Ends justify the means. That's all he thought about.
ends justify the means. So
Yeah.
whether it was sex,
Mm.
and certainly if it was his own survival,
Yeah.
then that's not a tough ask. That's not a question.
Yeah. Like, man, like
I
when
choose me.
what do you think of? I want this the next part. I want to talk a little bit about Justin Long's AJ, and then I want to talk a little bit more about Tess, because she's our final girl, and final girl is such an important element in horror movies and shit. But what did you think about when AJ arrives there? Is he way too casual about the scene he finds himself in? Like I'd be ringing the cops straight away. I'd be like, I'm pretty sure I've either got squatters or there's people missing here. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, that'd be my first call. But like, I suppose he was kind of on the run in a lot of ways, wasn't he? Like,
he was, and he was even like, you know, it was funny. This wasn't a funny film. It didn't have like slapstick humor or anything like that. But I loved when he was looking up if he could like add the square yardage to
yeah, like he didn't
to the
even bat an
value of the
eyelash.
house.
Like, you know
And
what
he was
I
like,
mean?
cool. You know, that was it. Like, you know, like, how does this benefit me?
Yeah, like, yeah,
And he can't see the world another way. Like, he
mm,
can't. Some people see the world through, we have the expression rose tinted glasses, people who
yeah,
are really optimistic. And I can never see the world that way. I can never be that optimistic, unfortunately,
yeah,
but it's great for you. And some people see the world more dour, complete. And
mm,
we all have that. We all have some sort of lens. But his is, how does this benefit me in the
yeah,
short term?
a complete sociopath.
Complete sociopath.
Yeah,
Even when he met Frank as well, I think like some of that frustration might have been that he could just see this fucking extreme version of him.
of himself.
Extreme now.
Yeah,
And I would say extreme because AJ was
mm,
not anywhere near those levels.
yeah,
But there's degrees of bad things. And there was two monsters in that room at that when he died.
mm,
You know, just one was an awful lot worse. And they were the only two monsters in the film. And then you know, you had with Skarsgård, Keith, you had the whole fact that we ourselves, the audience, have a tendency to look at people and assume things,
mm.
and it fucks with us as well. So I just think I just think it was great character development, but I also think it's great audience interaction. It's
Yeah.
making you question yourself, and that's when you know you're watching a good film.
Like, man, that intro, like, but before we got to I just want to say Justin Long never does well in horror movies. So I knew,
Not built for it.
yeah, so I knew 100, as soon as he came into the movie, I was like, yeah, he does not do well in horror movies. He's not going to
So how did he
survive.
die in Tusk?
In Tusk, well, have you seen Tusk?
Yeah,
Well, he gets turned into a walrus.
right. So it was him. He was the main character
Yeah,
in Tusk.
yeah.
And so he got his eyes gouged out and died in
Yeah,
Jeepers Creepers.
yeah, exactly. So that he never does well in horror movies. Like,
And now he got his head basically caved in.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
baby.
Oh, and like I said, he sees his girlfriend getting dragged to hell and drag me to hell.
Oh shit, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah. I love that movie. Drag Me to
yeah, I
Hell
love that
is
movie.
so good. It's so good. But like yeah, he just he never does well in horror movies. I knew he wasn't going to do well in this movie, but it was kind of cool to see him playing against type, because normally he plays, like, even in Drag Me to Hell, he's kind of trying to be there for her the whole way through it. Like, no matter what, she's going through her descent into madness when she's dealing with this kind of gypsy curse that's been placed upon her. It's absolutely awesome movie. Sam Raimi returned to horror slapstick. It was funny. It was gross. Such a clever movie. But he plays normally the stereotypical good guy. Like even in like he was like victim. He was the victim in Tusk. He's just a podcaster going out to interview this dude, played by oh, I can't remember his name. He's not Michael Clark or Michael. No, but Michael Hutchins, is that his name? The dude that plays the sheriff in Kill Bill. I think he
Oh
plays.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Um, but yeah, so like he's kind of the victim generally, but to see him can play kind of against type in this, and he played it so well. This kind of sleaze bag, as we said, he's sociopath, and just like every single situation, he has the opportunity to be a good guy, and he's like
Or
constantly
at
telling
least not
himself.
a completely shit one.
Yeah, and he's constantly
You know
telling
what I mean?
himself,
At
I'm a
the
good guy, I'm a good guy kind of thing. Like, he's kind of trying to reaffirm that what he did with that girl, like it's consensual, I'm a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm not a bad guy. And then as soon as he has to make a decision where it will literally affect him, he always makes the wrong decision. Like every single time. And that's why he is a complete bad guy. He's a total sociopath because like every single chance he gets, no matter how many times he reaffirms himself, he always makes the bad decision every single time. It's like, as you said earlier, he sees the footage. Like anybody else to see that footage, go, this is kind of suspicious. But he's just like, shit, how can I make money out of this? And he just starts measuring out the square footage.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
it.
what,
That was the closest we got to
yeah.
actual comedy.
It's kind of like he never sees any in the dangers, and then when he does, he always acts the wrong way every single time. It's always about self survival. Like it's
Hmm.
kind of like, you know what I mean. He knows it's the wrong thing to do, like to force that girl, because he's constantly saying to himself, "I'm a good guy." And he knows he did something wrong, like, but he
Yeah,
did it anyway. And then later on, when he throws Tess off the thing, he knows it's the wrong thing to do, but he's
of
like,
course it is.
I just want to
The
survive,
fact that
kind
he
of thing.
got there so
Yeah,
quickly.
you know what I
You
mean?
know,
Like,
it's the fact that that thought comes to him so quickly.
yeah,
Throw the
and
chick off the roof.
that's what you see the real AJ, that where he sheds the whole "I'm a good guy" kind of veneer, and
Oh
he's,
yeah.
yeah, in that moment, that's what you see.
It's like
Uh,
the Homer Simpson joke. Please don't kill me. I have a wife and kids. Eat me.
like, you know what I mean? So it's just that I like to say it's cool to see Justin Long play against type, and he played it really well. And AJ was such a unlikable character, but like one was, as I said to you earlier, the main thing about this movie, the continuous thread throughout it, was Tess, who was the girl that showed up at the Airbnb, and Keith was already there. They double booked. She stayed the night, and I can't believe she went back to that neighborhood. Like, oh my god, like, oh my god, I would have got up the next morning, walked out the door, I'm like, I'm packing, and I'm going
Yeah.
to stay literally anywhere
Yeah, she was the girl who was
else.
just like when she found the door thing first, she went, nope.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so I think like, she had the opportunity to get out there so many times, and it was kind of infuriating because it seemed like she was a very smart, capable lady, and she
Yeah.
made very stupid decisions. Like even some of the good ones, like the way she talks with the cops, she's immediately abrasive, and that cop is completely a dickhead, and you could see that he's a dickhead, but she played against, like, she was so abrasive with him. Like she should have tried to play the victim more instead of being
Yeah.
like she was kind of very hysterical. Like, and I'm like, oh, this dude's a
And then they
dickhead. I'm
ended up
gonna have
fucking
to.
off without even.
Yeah, oh my god, that cop was useless.
Yeah.
Like useless. If I was his partner, I'd be like, dude, I'm pretty sure we should scope this out. Like, you know what I mean? Like at the very least, it's a breaking and entering. The windows smashed, we can see it. Like, if she's not telling the truth, she probably broke into this house.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
you know what I
something
mean?
like there's a there.
Yeah, and I'm like, look at this neighborhood. Why is this like this is the only nice house in this neighborhood? So 100% someone's going to break into it. We should probably scope this out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty cut and dry. That's definitely a crime going on here. But that thing really named that cop was such a douche. Like, it was like, oh, and nobody, and the partner doesn't call him up in it. Like, so I think that was
Yeah,
really, I know it's like social commentary, that disaffected neighborhoods, like, you know what I mean, people don't care and all this stuff. But in that moment where you see that only one nice house in the middle of what looks like murderer's row,
yeah,
and the window smashed, there's a woman, she looks disabled, she's hysterical, you're scoping it out. You know what I mean? You're scoping out. That's one part that annoyed me. But like decision making of some of the characters, and like Tess, like I know she was brave and stuff going back in the house, but she had so many opportunities to get away before she go, oh, flat car's got a flat tire there. Guess I'm driving out here on three wheels.
yeah,
I
exactly.
never understand that in horror movies. Flat tire will not stop me from driving my car because I'll get 50 miles before that tire explodes.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's enough. Like,
And even if it blows up at 2 miles, well, fine, that's 2 miles.
guess
That's
I'm
a
driving,
start.
or I guess I'm driving on the rim for a couple of miles.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah,
Like, you're in a Jeep. That car's going to drive for a while on three wheels. You know?
absolutely. Oh no, no, there was, of course, but I mean, the film wouldn't work if the
Well,
cops had
horror is
been
all
dropping
about
them.
decisions, isn't it?
Oh
Choices.
yeah, it's always a series of them.
Yeah, and oftentimes it's the final girl makes enough right decisions, and
Yeah,
that's why she becomes the final girl, and that's why she survives. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. It's kind of like, why Dutch is one of the best final girls in Predator.
I was about to use her actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Dutch is a dude. I remember so much thing.
But like Amber Midthunders, I remember like because every time the predator killed, she learned something.
Yeah, same as Dutch. Like
Yeah,
that's
because
what was her name in that movie?
I'm trying to think. I can. It's weird. I can think of the actress's name, but not the
Yeah.
character.
You scoping it out?
Yeah, I'm scoffing it out. Yeah,
Yeah, cool. Oh, what was her name? Shit, it's been like 2 months since we've seen it. So
Naru.
Naru, yeah, she is, man, she's awesome in that movie. Like, I hate the way they said it's the first hunt because we know we spoke about kind of boxes it in, but like, yeah, she's an awesome final girl. But I was saying Dutch Ernst Schwarzenegger from the original Predator, one of the best final girls. Like, think about it. Like, that's how you rate Survivor in a horror movie. You don't call them final guys. So, like, Schwarzenegger is one of the best final girls, I think, from
Yeah,
Predator. Just gonna put it out there,
yeah.
controversial. There might be a poll, maybe, probably, definitely not. I'll forget about this 5 minutes after we finish recording.
I'm already forgetting. It's slipping away in real time
Slipping
sometimes.
away,
Yeah,
slipping
yeah.
away, twirling and twirling and twirling.
But one thing I think you have to say that the greatest strength of this film was just how many times it fucked with you, if
Yeah,
not the character development. There was
yeah,
something really to be said for the character development.
yeah.
But this film fucked with you a lot.
Yeah, and like all the different layers. Like, as I said, look at the trailer. It's like one of the best bait and switches of all time. You think the trailer, you think you know what this movie is going in, and you're wholly mistaken.
Yeah,
Like,
remember the hunt? They killed Emma Roberts at the start,
mm,
and you're just like, yes, okay. I thought she was at least big enough that she was going to be a secondary character, if
yeah.
not the main. And then you're like, yeah, I like it. The films are doing that. Long may it last. Big fan.
Or Friday the 13th in 2009 or whatever, the remake, where you get introduced to all these characters and you think they're going to be the main cast, and they all get killed in the opening scene.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Except for one that, like, he just comes back. Grace Van Pelt, I think her name was, on The Mentalist. I don't know her real name. Is that her real name? I
I
can't
have
remember.
no idea.
I can't remember. I think her name was Van Pelt in that show. But like, I like when horror movies do that, to do the bait and switch, because as we said earlier, it's so hard to find something new. We spoke about Ty West and his movies X and Pearl. If you haven't seen those episodes, check them out. They're going to drop same day as this. And when you watch a lot of horror movies, it's very hard to see that new. It's very hard to have a twist that you really don't see coming. A lot of times you see a twist, but a lot of times you'll have predicted the twist, that kind of thing. And even
Agreed.
though
Yeah.
the twist is in the movie and it'll catch a lot of people out, if you see a lot of movies, you'll see the patterns evolve as the movies go along, and you can kind of see the direction they're going in. Like, what Barbarian did was, its entire trailer was the intro of the movie. It
Right.
literally marketed a completely different movie than what we saw. And that's so rare. And the fact that there was no leaks in this age of social media and online chitter chatter, and everyone's talking about everything at all times, and to have that, and to have nothing get out, and to have it to be a completely different type of movie that we thought was going to be in this day and age, where like every single detail to infinitum is released, like that you almost feel like you've seen half the movie before the movie comes out nowadays.
Oh yeah, or at least all the best of it.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like all the cool fucking scenes, all the cool action sequences, and all that. Yeah, no, I love that. I just think it's smart, and that's the one thing you should always be
Yeah, it's
just a
just
little bit
rare
smart.
nowadays as well, isn't it? Like, to
Yeah,
see movies that kind of have that real sneaky thing like about them, or like going into X, or like, even though Ty West is such awesome movies, you go into X like, this is going to be a slasher, and you kind of have an idea of what's going to happen. Creepy old couple in a remote house. We've seen this go down before, very nostalgic. But when you watch Pearl, even though it has a lot of like the same motifs as like Psycho or Norman Bates and stuff like that, but you see the devolution of her into the killer she became, and the way it was shot was new, and that was really cool. But to have a movie nowadays like Barbarian come out and have its complete marketing campaign be a bait and switch, that's so rare. Like that's probably like almost as rare as what Blair Witch did. And like Blair Witch happened in the 90s, in 95 or 99 or something. And to have this in 2022 now, where like, and I think it probably turned a lot of people off the movie to have it be so different. Like, to play devil's advocate for the people that have complained about this movie, I can completely understand. You go in, you're expecting one thing, and you get something completely different. Like, you know what I mean? So I can understand why it has its detractors, but you have to appreciate something that's different. Like, we've all seen the spooky guest, or the kind of person that comes in that's a wolf in sheep's clothing. We've all seen that, but we haven't seen a movie that got marketed as that and turns out to have a giant incest baby that's murdering people
Yeah.
underneath it. That's the birth of generational incest and rape by this dude who was a serial rapist and serial killer. We haven't seen that.
No, no.
We haven't seen that.
And
And
then AJ shoved in there, and he kind of ends up being a much bigger character than Keith was as well. Like, so
yeah,
just
exactly, like the Bill
tears
Skarsgård thing.
of it's brilliant use. It's brilliant use to take a really big actor and just use them in a way. Because the one thing that we would all agree is going to happen is you're going to use the big actor a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you
And
don't get
especially Bill
Bruce Willis, you
Skarsgård
don't
right
get.
now, he's King Midas. Everything he touches turns to gold. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, oh god, yeah, Jesus, yeah. That this is definitely his time.
Mm. He's still really young. Like, whatever is go, like the Skarsgård brothers. Like, it's crazy how good they actually all are as actors.
No, they're an active family for sure.
Yeah, it is
Well, they
crazy.
literally are an acting family. I know that's more of a
Yeah.
statement than an opinion, but they
But
are. But they, they really took to it. There's just so much talent there.
yeah, like so, like I just think, like, I know a lot of people are like, a lot of people have their complaints or negative statements about this, but I just think it's really cool that we got to see something fresh. We got to see the mother, which you could, like, there is room to grow backwards with this movie, where a lot of horror franchises do, where now that the mother's dead, maybe you could show how she became that way and how long she's
Mm.
been doing this thing, and you can see all the other victims and stuff like that, where you see a lot of horrors do that, where essentially the villain wins. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
you
Yeah,
know, so
especially if they do something like a prequel or something where your character needs to be there at the end.
yeah,
It's not
exactly.
like it's not like it's one thing you can be guaranteed because it's not where the story ends. We've
Yeah,
seen where the story ends. Yeah, no, so of course it would be something just to really dive in. Although I'm not sure he'll do it because I think half the appeal of this movie was that it wasn't what we expected.
yeah,
And
I
now that we
suppose.
do
Yeah,
know what it's
yeah,
about, I'm not saying it won't, but I'm just saying that was so much of the appeal
yeah,
was the second she hears Keith screaming down the stairs and she goes down and he's just getting beaten to death. Like it was just
yeah.
it was
Like,
that was the big moment. Like
from the trailer onwards, you're like, oh, this dude is luring her into some sort of like cat and mouse game. That's what you think
yes,
the whole trailer's going to be, and to have it go down there, like that scene where Keith gets killed, Bill Skarsgård, where he's like, something bit me, and you're like, wait, this dude's he feels, you're still a bit like unsure of him.
yeah.
You're literally unsure of him until the mother comes out of the dark and grabs his skull and starts smashing his head in.
No,
Like,
I was still going. Hmm.
I don't buy it.
I
I
don't
don't
buy
buy
it.
it. I didn't see him die. But like,
There could be anyone's brains coming out of his brains.
yeah, it's like, I don't trust him. He took on many shapes and forms as Pennywise the clown.
He did. He did, and
Uh,
I'm not just going to overlook that suddenly.
yeah, and one of them was an old lady. Actually, two of them was kind of old
Oh,
lady. One woman
yeah, you're right. Actually,
yeah,
the
so,
librarian and the woman in the
or,
apartment that your
yeah.
mom used to live in.
Oh, three then, if you want to include the woman from the painting. The-
Oh, you were thinking of the woman from the painting.
yeah,
Yeah, then three. Yeah,
I forgot
yeah.
about the woman in the library.
Oh, it's just
Yeah,
that was
that's
one of
so
the
creepy.
just smiling in the back, lovely. Just so simple stuff, man.
Yeah, like,
Sometimes it's just simple stuff.
man, part one of that movie is one of my favorite modern horrors. Like,
Oh yeah, agreed, yeah.
it chapter one. Oh, it's so well made. Everything about it is so well done. It's so creepy. It's so unsettling. It's so, when it has to be. It's kind of big and it's like
You're sorry
goofy.
it's over because you
Yeah,
know that you're probably never going to feel
and even when I watched the
exactly
double bill, the second movie does not compare to the first movie.
no.
It's like, and it's unfortunate because the second movie is actually an awesome horror movie. It's just a bit overlong, and it just doesn't capture the same magic. And I think it's hard to capture that same magic
No,
because that's why some of
there was
the
something magical about, yeah,
yeah, it's just something about those kind of stories, Goonies, even Stranger Things, where
yeah.
like as the kids get older in Stranger Things, it's not as like when like it doesn't have the same magic, like because
First season was still the best season.
it's
Yeah,
it's supposed to be like a group of kids against the world, and it's supposed to be like they're adventurous, they're optimistic, and all these kind of things, and they're wide-eyed, and they find out all about life through the adventure to take on, and that's what it is, and like like that's what make those movies magical, like those the kid adventure movies, and that's why people go back and watch them over and over again. I think, like total sidebar about the It movies, but like what did you? What were we talking about that led us down this rabbit hole?
I actually think, oh, Skarsgård,
Oh, Bill
Pennywise
Skarsgård.
the clown. Yeah,
Yeah, like so. Yeah, oh, the creepy old women.
the creepy
Yeah,
old
yeah,
women.
the
That's what it
creepy old.
was.
Yeah, but like yeah, so yeah, the like those movies for reasons like that, the whole adventure side thing, like the earlier Stranger Things. That's why they're so good. Up as far as season three, like season four, they're like 1 year later. Really, they're literally 9 inches taller.
Yeah.
And Will looks about 25. Oh god. Oh man, but like
It has been quite the summer,
God damn it, the darkness is really inside of me. And he's just like shaving his 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, yeah.
To school, mother. Oh jeez. But yeah, so like back to go back to Barbarian, like I thought it was a really cool movie, even though a lot of the characters made stupid decisions. Like, talk to me, dude. After seeing right, first of all, Tess goes there, she's suspect immediately, but
Yeah,
she's played Among Us. She knows something's sus here.
yeah,
You know what I mean? She goes in, she knows something's up. Immediately she's on guard. She's disarmed by
yeah.
Keith.
Trying to
Keith go yeah,
looking at his ID and stuff like that.
she talks to him, has a bit of wine. He's very charming, very affable. Everything seems to be good, right? She drops her guard. She goes back to the house. Idiot. Like, literally, you got over 50-50 chance of surviving. Literally. That's
Yeah,
what you had there that night. You took a 50-50 chance, even though you're in a car and you could have gone anywhere else. Like, I think that movie would have been better if she'd arrived in a taxi. Me and Lorraine, we were talking about that. We thought from the trailer she arrived in a taxi. I thought it would have been better if she arrived in a taxi because then she's stuck there for the night because you're not going to walk through that neighborhood. She had a car. She could have easily driven anywhere, literally anywhere else. Like, you know what I mean? And she could have literally went and parked up outside of where her interview was going to be. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
And just
literally
left in the,
anywhere.
yeah, 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 absolutely.
So I just think that was like, I think they could have taken that decision out of Tessa's hand and go, no, she got a taxi there and she doesn't know the town. She's in a weird place.
Yeah,
She's going to take a chance on this seemingly
there's literally
nice
nowhere
guy.
else to say. There's
Yeah, you know
nowhere
what I
at
mean.
all. It's
The fact that
whatever
she went back,
season. There's
I thought,
something
like,
unfair going
dude,
on.
as I said to you earlier, I thought this whole movie was going to take place in one night. And when she goes back, like, I turned around, I was like, to Larry, I was like, she went back. She saw that neighborhood, and she went back. Why would you go back? Like, even as like a dude, I would not go back to that neighborhood. First of all, I would have gone into the house with Keith. I just watched Dahmer on Netflix. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? I'm not going in there. Like, you know what I mean? So I just thought it was crazy. She took a 50-50 chance. She came out on top, and then she goes back into that neighborhood after seeing it in daylight when she had the means to drive away at any time.
yeah.
That was
Just get out of there.
yeah, I think in those situations, if you want your character to be stuck, take away all the decisions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Make
That's
them
it.
be a victim of
A victim of
circumstance.
circumstance and not a victim
Exactly.
of your own fucking stupid shit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because then we're like, okay, Tess is a strong, independent woman. She's going to take a chance on her own decision-making process. And that's why she's going to trust Keith. Not because she's desperate and she's afraid. It's better to think like she's like in a situation where she's like I just don't think she would have made the decision. Hit my mic. I don't think she would have made the decision. She has a car. She has a way of getting out of there. She knows someone in the city because she's had an interview. She could have rang that person, told them her situation. They probably could have got her somewhere to stay. She had lots of decisions to make. I
I
thought it
will
would.
sleep underneath your kitchen table, please. Type of, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
And literally explain the situation. Like Airbnb was double booked. There's this stranger. It's literally my only place to stay. Do you know anywhere that I could stay for the night? Anywhere. Like, you know what I mean? And they would have sorted you out. I just think that and then she went back was really annoyed me. I just thought
It would see. The thing is, you're probably thinking as well from the perspective of a writer, and that is the fact that it's not. It wouldn't have been hard to do.
yeah,
Like taxi versus your own car,
yeah, take away her car.
bus versus your own car.
Yeah.
You know, complete lack of familiarity with the area, lack of friends there, or maybe you do have a friend there, but they're away or whatever. It's done easily enough
Yeah.
inside of the narrative.
So she makes an instinctual decision, lesser two evils. Like, do I trust this neighborhood more than I trust this dude? And that would have been her decision making process. Whereas I know that was kind of a part of her decision making process, but she had so many options to leave at any time. She wasn't cornered. In a situation like that, you want her to be cornered because you want her to have to make a decision, which is the lesser of two evils. And she didn't have to really make that decision because she could leave at any time, which she did leave, and she came back to that neighborhood. And the woman was like, "Barbary, are you really doing Airbnb there?" And all this, like literally, like any person that walked out that door and saw that neighborhood would have went back in and packed her shit and gone. There's no way you're going to plan on staying there. Oh, I met a stranger. Like he was cool last night, so he's definitely gonna be cool last night. Even though he was screaming, having night terrors. But
Yeah.
like, okay, like you know what I mean. So like,
I
I
would have
just
gone downstairs and I'd have been like seeing the rape room, and I was like, "Oh, that mattress looks mad uncomfortable."
yeah, she's like they're later, lol, bloodstained matches. Hashtag
But like, I mean,
Airbnb.
yeah, absolutely. And but I think that a lot of it is, yeah, like you said, you wanted the film to play out as it played out because it was a really cool film. But a lot of times when you see these little flaws, and you're like, just, just that.
Yeah, the
But it's
characters
still
though.
it's nitpicking,
Mm,
and you know it is nitpicking, and that's a great. It's always a good sign where if you're going to kind of you have to say something about a film that you didn't love, because
yeah,
very few films that are going to be 100% across the
the
board.
characters just made very strange decisions to me. The cops, AJ, Tess, Keith.
The
Nobody's
useless
going.
cops, yeah, the useless cops is
Yeah,
a repetitive narrative though,
yeah. Even the
because
homeless
it's too
dude.
easy for them to like go in with guns and well go in with the possibility of having a SWAT team with the fucking
Yeah,
with
like
one little call.
there's just two, just literally two guys there, and the circumstances look completely suspicious. Both of them are armed. Both of them are young enough. They could have handled that situation to an extent in their mind because they obviously don't know about the giant woman, the giant incest baby that's murdering people. Like, you know what I mean? So I just thought decision making process was a bit strange for me, or all the characters seemed like they were really stupid in moments under pressure or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? So like because like the only reason Tess survived, not due any of her own ingenuity, because the mother saved her.
Yeah.
You know, I just think like a final girl should nearly always survive because of her own ingenuity. Because the reason she survived is because she made better decisions in crunch moments when other people faltered, and that's why they died. You know what I mean? And that's why she's alive. Like you look at Halloween, like Laurie's the only one that actually is kind of proactive in how she deals with Michael. She attacks him twice in the sitting room, in the closet. That's why she
Hmm.
survives. She's
Even like
proactive.
with a fish, sorry, fishing line, I was about to
A
say a clothesline,
clothes hanger.
clothes hanger.
Mm.
We got there. That's the most important one. We got
Yeah.
there. But like
Well,
she just like she has
royal
nothing else.
we.
But like she doesn't have anything else, so she just kind of unwraps it and just stabs.
Yeah,
Like
she
what else
stabs
are you
him like
gonna
a
do?
knitting needle
Yeah, but
earlier on.
sometimes I do like there is something to be said for chaos.
Yeah.
You know that you're alive and they're dead because chaos.
Yeah.
And because in real life that's how stuff often happens. You know, just pure chaos.
I just
But
think that most of the time people survive these deadly situations is because they figure out a way of making the right decisions at the right times. And that's the reason they survive. And I think some of the best final girls, it comes down to their own ingenuity, it comes down to their own decision making and not just
and
happenstance.
grit.
Yeah,
Like
you know
there's
what I mean?
always that like they've been pushed as far as they can take it and say fuck this, like
Yeah,
you know.
I just think like Tess, like for someone that was portrayed as a very smart, very intelligent, very independent woman, that she made a lot of bad decisions, and it wasn't really in line with the character that they were trying to convey. And I thought she would have made a much better final girl if they actually had her make the smart decisions that her character was supposed to be able to make in the first place. And I think they took a lot of that out of her hands and just made her a victim and not a survivor. That kind of thing.
I
Because
hear you. Yeah.
and I just think that's the difference between a lot of the best final girls. And they are a victim, yeah, but usually it's through their own decision making is the reason they survive, and not just because. Like if the mother doesn't jump off the oak, Tess dies, Tess is dead, AJ wins. Like, you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. Like, so I just think it would have been better if she outsmarted AJ and the mother at some stage, like a bit more. That it shows that her ingenuity is the reason she survives, and not just because of some random coincidence, that kind of thing. And like,
Yeah.
and that's obviously, that's just my bugbear. I just like to see that in the final girls, where no matter how small the girl is, she's able to outsmart Michael Myers because it's about her ingenuity against his sheer strength or his sheer force, or how she's able to outwit Jason Voorhees. You know what I mean? Like, because they are the nil sum, or they are the kind of evil boiled down to its purest, like where it's just a monotonous creature that's just going to keep coming forward. I know the mother was kind of that because she was a victim unto herself, but it was kind of that sense where you talked about earlier, she was almost like a feral person where she didn't have any sense of anything. It was just instinctual, like when she jumps off the thing. It's not, she doesn't think about survival. It's almost like she's no concept of her own existence. It's almost just about being a mother, keep the line going, that kind of thing. Or I just think, like, I don't know, for me, I think a final girl should be the reason she survives in the end in these movies. And I think that's some of the most iconic final girls usually are the reason they survive.
Right. She does exist outside that mold, then, well, be it for better or worse. Because
Mm,
she did survive. She was the final girl. But I think also you'd probably have to take into account the fact that there was a different. She wasn't up against a Michael Myers or something. She wasn't up against
yeah.
something whose inevitable reasoning was to kill and just to kill and to keep killing.
Yeah, but she was not afraid to kill. She killed Keith for no reason.
Yeah.
No reason. Like, if anything, Keith was the most innocent person almost in the whole
That's a
movie.
good. You know what? I have to say I have to concede there, don't
Look
I?
at the
Because
environment that,
he was. You're absolutely right. He was like I don't know why he wasn't taken to the pit or whatever. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah.
I
Whether
mean,
it's
like,
that she wanted a daughter or something, I actually don't know. But like he,
probably
yeah,
because he only kept the girls.
he only kept the girls. That's right.
That's probably what it was, because like think
Probably.
of the upbringing she was brought up in. She was a massive threat. So she goes straight through a wall and kills the homeless dude. She's a massive threat. Like, I know she's not like evil, the blackest eyes I've ever seen or anything like that, but she was a massive threat, like, unto herself. Like, she was killing people left, right, and center. God knows how long she's been killing people. Like, you know what I mean? She comes out at night and, like, she's probably been picking up people's, like, left, right, and center. So she's
Yeah.
not without blame. Like, I just like I know I just think Tess as a final girl, I think you could make the mother a bit more monstrous and make Tess a bit more smarter. Like,
Yeah.
just make her a little smarter, because some of the decisions she makes are insane. Who goes down in that tunnel after seeing that rape room? Like, come on, who does? And you hearing the dude saying hell, I'm like, Keith, it was nice knowing you.
Yeah, maybe just like a foosball table in the next room. Maybe they're not
Yeah.
all bad rooms.
Yeah. She's like, Keith. And I'd be like, Keith, I'm going to send the cops here.
Yeah.
May God be
Yeah.
with you, I guess. I'm not going down in that tunnel for any money. I don't care. Like, literally, I'd have to have a great. It's like that movie Fall. Like, I would have to have a hell of a good reason to climb up that thing. Like, do you know when you put yourself in the mind of your characters when you're watching something, and you're like, would I be able to survive this? How would I do in this circumstance? And then it gets to certain situations, you're like, oh, I don't think I could do this. Now I die. Like, when I was watching the movie Fall, I don't think there's maybe one or two people I would go up that ladder for
Is
in
that
the
the
entire
film
world.
we watched recently where the two girls climb into the tower?
Yes. One or two people on this entire planet Earth that I could see myself going up that ladder to get.
Yeah.
That's two people,
I
right?
don't even know if I have
Oh my
that.
God, like literally two people in the entirety there, and you get to that part where it's broken.
Yeah.
That's going to take some serious mind power to get over. All
Oh yeah.
right. Same with that tunnel. There's about 2 people on planet Earth that calls out to me that I'm going in that tunnel after. Because everybody else, I'd be like, looks like you died in a tunnel, dude. And
Yeah,
like I
like just
expect no less as well. If I'm in that tunnel, I'm calling out for help and nobody comes. I'm like, fair enough.
yeah. I'm upset, but I get it.
Yeah. It's totally true. Tell my parents. But like
Yeah, well, I'd say yeah, there is an awful lot of like, nope.
yeah. Yeah, so we're nearly hitting on the hour mark, so let's get the fuck out of here. So
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Let's
so
finish ourselves
so
off.
no, we went down to Barbary Way. We like everybody else, we got hoodwinked. We thought we were going to see something else, and we saw something completely different. And
Yeah, it was different.
it was
And
cool, it was original, it was layered, and the mother, I think, is a very cool horror villain in air quotes. She's kind of
yeah,
the
villain
villain,
in
but
air quotes. Just
yeah,
leave it at that.
you
Yeah,
know what I
villain in
mean.
air
So
quotes.
I
Yeah.
think it was cool. I think like, what is there anything before we get the fuck out of here? Is there anything you want to say about Barbarian that you didn't like the way I was saying about the decision making of the
Well,
characters?
actually, I think you covered it quite well. I thought like I just want the film to stay away from tropes, and I think it
Yeah,
did that really
yeah,
well. So
yeah,
I do actually agree. I have to say it was kind of eye opening. Some of your thoughts on that. Yeah, you're right. There was some really, really dumb decisions. So I'd only be copy and pasting and explaining worse than you did the kind of
and you're
similarities
like,
of.
dude, I'll edit the episode. You take my pay out completely.
Yeah, yeah, but I do love the fact that it surprised me and it stayed away from tropes.
Yeah,
I
and it's
love
hard
like
to be
it's the most
surprised now.
tropey genre in the world. We love it,
Mm,
but we admit it. It's the
yeah,
tropiest. It's a family with like minus one parent because they died due to some tragic circumstance with the bitchy teenage daughter who's actually 26, so it's okay. I find her attractive. Um, and she wanted to stay with her friends.
yeah.
And you know, like I mean,
I
it had
hate you.
none of
Why are you
that.
doing this to me?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it stayed away from all that, and it was fun
Mm.
in a weird way, and it had some really, really, really good character development. Even if a lot of the decisions that were made along the way do definitely leave you scratching your head.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
definitely a film. I had to watch this real quick because we were going to be doing it on the podcast, and I didn't get to watch it with Sheila. But I've been telling her, look, you have to watch it
yeah,
before I
it's
accidentally just said,
yeah,
just watch it.
yeah, for all its faults or for any of its detractors, I think it gave us something new, and it's a very modern horror set nowadays and it's smacked of the 2022. Like it just felt like this whole thing where people are desperate for places to stay, like Airbnb, everything kind of felt like now, and then it gave us an original story on top of that. So like I think it has to be commended because I didn't see that coming. You said giant incest murder baby or something like
Yeah,
murder.
giant incest murder movie. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if like when I sat down going in, I did not expect coming out with that.
No,
You know what I
no,
mean? Like
no, no, you did not.
yeah,
And I'm going to call it the twist. From now on, I'm calling it when it does a twist like that, a titty twister. Because the titty twister was the first time, it was back in the 90s. They
yeah.
went to the titty twister and it was a vampire movie.
From dusk
Out
to
of
dawn.
nowhere.
Yeah.
It was not hinted at, it was not
Yeah.
anything. And then it was a vampire movie, and I was like, hell yes.
Yeah.
I remember just being a kid. I was only like 13 or something when that came out. And I
Yeah.
remember just going, hell yes.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do, and Barbarian did it right, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, bait and switch nowadays, it's almost impossible. They got it right. I think they should be lauded for it. So that was so that's it. We get the fuck out of here.
Let's get the fuck out of here,
Cool.
folks.
All right,
Like,
folks.
comment, subscribe. Just say hello. Guess what beer I'm drinking? It's not Heineken. I did that last
Guess what beer he's drinking, and guess what color underwear he's wearing.
and
It's
we will
polka
give you
dots.
a
He's
free
heavy.
Maserati if you get it right.
Yeah, dude, literally crossing your fingers does not get you over Portland purple contract.
I'm pretty sure that's legally binding, man. I think we're good.
No backsies.
No backsies.
Under the penal code, it says here no backsies. All right, folks. This is Invasion Potty Snatchers. I'm your host, Vince Green.
I'm your host, John Tui.
And that was the awesome Barbarian. You know, they just don't make him like that often enough for me. Like,
no.
So, like, you know, as I said, if you want to get an Airbnb, go do whatever you want, stay in other people's houses if they think that's not creepy, but don't do it with strangers.
Do not.
Little PSA from Potty Snatchers, little Potty Snatchers service announcement over here from your co-host, Vinnie Green.
Read the small print in case there's a rape room in the basement.
Yeah, and if you find a rape room in the basement, leave. Just
Leave.
leave. Just leave. Just do
Leave in your
that.
car.
That's
You
all.
go very far.
Yeah, yeah.
And it might be inconvenient because you might not have somewhere to stay and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's best to leave.
yeah. As long as it doesn't have a rape room, it's an upgrade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Like the open road is an upgrade.
yeah. Did Bill Bixby well in Incredible Hulk? Because I'm saying, so I'm saying, all right, folks, we'll catch you next time. Check us out. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Leave likes, comments, whatever,
Just
subscribe,
say hello.
notify if you want to click on that bell, and you'll see every time we release something cool. And don't worry, we've got lots of cool stuff coming for you. And it's not just going to be spider reviews, we got other things planned. So see you next time, motherfuckers. Peace.
Stay tuned. Peace.